Namaskaram. It is a pleasure to be addressing you all on the auspicious occasion, festival, the festival of lights called Deepavali. I would love to share whatever little saram, essence I have gathered of this beautiful festival. It is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam and the subsequent texts that have allied with this beautiful Purana of Narakasura. Narakasura is said to have ruled over a province whose capital was Pragjotishapura. It is often believed by the scholars and some historians that Pragjotishapura could indicate the current day Assam, the Indian state Assam, while a few scholars who have researched have also said that the current day Thailand, the country, could be Pragjotishapura. In either case, it was Narakasura who ruled that province, and it is said that Indra, the lord of Amaravati, once came over to Krishna and complained of the atrocities that were meted on the Devas, the celestials, and a gamut of other communities by this tyrant king called as Narakasura. Here goes a verse. Janani sarvabhutanam patni tava vasundhara. Indra tells Krishna, tava vasundhara, your wife, Mother Earth, whose Vasundhara, prasuya narakam devi duyate twadupekshaya. It is said that while you rescued Mother Earth from Pralayarnavam, the ocean of deluge, during Varahavataram, she contemplated a lot, and as a result, over a due course of time, she gave birth to Narakasura, the person whom I am talking about. There are two ways to look at it. Mother Earth in Sanatana Dharma has a form. Of course, we see her as Mother Earth, but she is also treated as a consort of the Lord. So she has a specific form, she has got certain swarupa, and there are certain attributes that are assigned to her. Besides, we also know that animals and humans who live on earth are treated as her children. So either Narakasura could have been directly born of Bhudevi, or it could have been a case of an orphaned son who is treated as the son of Mother Earth. In whichever case, Mother Earth treats Narakasura as her son. So, mentioning about the atrocities, Indra seeks Krishna's intervention, who is now living in Dwaraka, the island city in the Arabian Sea off the coast of Gujarat. Krishna immediately brought Satyabhama, who incidentally in Parijata Harana Champu, that's a beautiful Sanskrit word, where she seeks the Parijata flowers. So, combining both the objectives at one go, Krishna asked her to come along as well, and he flew on Garuda. There is a vivid description of what all happened when Garuda started, as he flew and as he landed. Now, as Krishna landed in Pragjotishapura, he first tried convincing Naraka to relieve over 16,100 girls who were unmarried for a very long time. They would have turned women, and some were even old. They were languishing in the jails of Pragjotishapura, and Krishna sought Narakasura's intervention, and he said, please relieve them all. Narakasura did not budge. So there was no option for Krishna to relieve them of the clutches of Narakasura. And besides, Narakasura, being such a radiant and a very prosperous king, was also of the habit of snatching and stealing away certain specific objects. One of them happened to be Varuna Deva's umbrella. Second was Aditi, Indra's mother, Aditi's earrings. And then there was a gem-studded little hilak called Mani Parvata or Mandarachala, that was also taken, and he was about to take away the celestial elephant of the vehicle of Indra called Airavata. So as all this was a problem, and so were the women who were languishing in the jail, Krishna had to fight it out. And in the battlefield, Narakasura was finally killed. So here goes a verse. Na hiranya hiranyaksho na madhurna kaitabhaha upamana padetasya tvachakti janitatmanaha. Narakasura was so strong that even a combine of a hiranyaksha, a hiranyakashipu, a Madhu and a Kaitaba couldn't match his strength, and Krishna won over him. Vakravrittihi sarudhiro lohitango mahisutaha. It so happened at the end of the war, he looked like Mars because he was drenched in blood. He was looking red, so he looked like Mars, the red planet. Why does the comparison of Narakasura stained in blood akin to Mars seems very important? Because he is treated as the son of Mother Earth. Mother Earth's son is Angaraka or Kuja. Mangalavaram bhumi kumaram varam varam Angarakamashrayamyaham. So Mother Earth keeps her son Mars, Kuja, Angaraka, in Tamil he is called Shevvai, very close to her. So since Naraka is also treated as the son of Mother Earth, he also resembled his brother Mars. So Vakravrittihi sarudhiro lohitango mahisutaha prapya yadava bhaswantam mudaha samabhavat kramat. But he couldn't withstand the radiance from the sun who had arisen in the Yadava clan, who's Krishna. So on this occasion, Vedanta Deshika, the 13th century polymath, polyglot, poet extraordinaire, a playwright, a dietitian, a philosopher par excellence, says in his beautiful Sanskrit poetry called Yadavabhyudayam, Divi bhuvicha samidham deeparupena rudhais tribhuvana vibhavanam ankurai ekarupaihi janita nigama sakhyam danavinam vilapair naraka vadhadinam tannatha pujarham asit. So he tells to commemorate this particular day of winning over darkness, because when objects which are of great value are lost, everything seems dark to us. So the closest object which we can't live without in those days was Atma. Today it's our mobile phone. Imagine our mobile phone is lost. Just think for a second that you've lost your mobile phone. Wouldn't the entire world seem dark? So Aditi had lost her earrings, Varuna had lost his umbrella, Indra was about to lose his position, the women had lost their freedom, so everything was seeming dark. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, there needs to be light. So to commemorate this transition from darkness to light, lights well lit, lamps well lit. 1. So Naraka Vadha Dinam. But just imagine somebody asks you, what is this festival? And I end up saying this is Deepavali. Why do you light all these lamps? Because we are very happy that Narakasura, a person, was killed. Immediately people will wonder, what kind of a religion is this? Where somebody is killed and you're all making a gala event out of it. So please be very careful. It so happened that Naraka, the Narakasura, the person, the demon, had cast a spell of darkness over people, a variety of people across genders. So it was Krishna who brought freedom to all of these women and brought those lost wealth back to the respective people. So this happened on one side. On the other hand, Narakasura is the name of the person. Naraka in Sanskritam also could denote hell. So life was like hell for most of them. The other meaning for Naraka, when construed in the form of a verb, Nrinam Prapayati, which means that object or that entity, that which is treated very auspicious, which everyone would love to have it, but is quite far, geographically very far, beyond my reach. And if that object seems to come very close to me, that is Naraka in Sanskritam. So in Sanatana Dharma, in Hinduism, it is believed Every river, every lake, every pond is very pure and very, very holy because there is water in it. It is one of the most important elements which we need in life. So we shouldn't end up polluting it. Whatever said and done, Kaveri could be pure, holy. So is Godavari, Krishna, Tungabhadra, Narmada, Mahanadi. Name a river, they're all holy. I'm not talking only about the Indian rivers, rivers in Europe, rivers in the North America, rivers anywhere in this world. That's a water body, we need to respect it. But Ganga, river Ganga, the Ganges, holds a very, very high and a prominent position in Sanatana Dharma. I'm not saying the other rivers don't, they are all equally important. But Ganga holds a special position. Girisha shire sthite gambhira gaye Sangeeta vadya priye, says the very, very famous composer, Vagayakara, Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar. So, Gange Mampahi, he says, I offer my obeisances, my pranamams to river Ganga. So while Ganga is treated so holy, even in the Tamil tradition, Ganga is very far for the south of India. The Alvars, the mystic saints say, Gangayir Punidamaya Kaveri Naduvupati. Even while having to extol river Kaveri, they have to compare it with Ganga because Ganga has the association of the Trimurtis. She comes from the Kamandalu, the jar, the pot, jug of Brahma. So she has association with Brahma's Kamandalu. Then she is used to wash the holy feet of the Lord in Trivikramavataram. So she has association with Vishnu's feet. The waters then reach the matted locks of Lord Shiva. Jadakirana Shakala Dhara Jatila Natapati. So she is associated with the Trimurtis. She is associated with Itihasa Sreshtham, which is Ramayanam. Rama crosses Ganga. In Krishnavataram, Krishna adds glory to one of Ganga's very famous tributaries called Yamuna. Even the Chola king, while he is being celebrated, he is called the one who brought the waters of Ganges from the Pala dynasty, Gangai Kondan, Gangai Konda Cholapuram. So when so much of importance is accorded to river Ganga, and she is treated so holy, she may not be geographically reachable to all inhabitants. People who live in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Bengal, West Bengal and Bangladesh may have access to her. Not everybody in this part of the world. But Shastram tells that on the day of Deepavali, that is mentioned, Ashvayuja Krishna Paksha Chaturdashi, the 14th day in Ashvamasam, Ashvayuja Krishna Paksha. She is in the waning phase because from the full moon you go towards the new moon to Amavasya Chaturdashi, Deepotsava Chaturdashi. It's called Deepotsava Chaturdashi, says the great grammarian, scholar and poet called Appaya Dikshita. So here Ganga, who is treated so holy, on the day of Deepavali, on the day of Amavasya, early in the morning, it is said in whichever part of the world you are, you could be in the West Coast, Seattle, Portland, California, you could be in the Midwest, you could be in Illinois, you could be in Indianapolis, you could be in the state of Dallas, you could be in New Jersey, you could be in New York, you could be in Boston, you could be in Atlanta. You could be anywhere in the European subcontinent. You could be in the United Kingdom. You could be in Germany. You could be in France. You could be in Belgium. You could be in Denmark. You could be anywhere in Africa, South Africa, Kenya. You could be in South America. Why leave that continent? Brazil, Venezuela. You could be in Australia, New Zealand, in any of the Oceania countries. You could be in the East. You could be in Japan. You could be in China. You could be in any of the Southeast Asian countries. You could be in Bharatadesham, India. You could be in Pakistan. You could be in Tamil Nadu. You could be in Karnataka. You could be in Kerala. You could be in Andhra. You could be in Telangana, Maharashtra, Haryana, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, West Bengal. Name a state, name a place on the day of Deepavali Amavasya. Shastram tells, be it the red color plastic bucket, it could be a blue color plastic bucket, it could be anything. Ganges reaches your place that day. So since this day brings the most auspicious Ganga waters to our place, Nrinam Prapayati, it's called Naraka Chaturdashi. So Naraka Chaturdashi is not a gala event to celebrate somebody's death. It is to bring the most auspicious Ganga home. So generally there is a question in the south of India, a very standard question. Ganga Snanam Acha. So we may be wondering, no, I took bath only in the PVC pipe water that came. No, that's still okay because there's still Ganga in it. Well, if Krishna Avataram, Narakasura Vadham, of course the Deepotsavam and then Ganga waters coming to our house is one of the reasons to celebrate Deepavali. There is a day before it, there are 2 days after it. So it's celebrated across the Indian geography for various reasons. It is believed that it is on that day next to Deepavali that Krishna took all the inhabitants of Vrindavanam to Govardhana Parvatam and did the famous Annakutotsavam in front of Govardhana. It is said that upon Krishna's successful mission of bringing the maidens who were housed in Narakasura's jail back, he gave them freedom. Subhadra, his sister, welcomed Krishna. So it's also a day where sisters commemorate their brother's love, their relationship. It's Bhai Dooj. And it is also said in some cultures that it is the day when goddess Durga is said to have won over Mahishasura. Sarasi Janabha Sodari Varaguruha Janani Madashamani Mahishasura Mardini Mandagamani Mangala Vara Pradayini, says the same Vagayakara Muthuswami Dikshita. It is also said that Yamuna, the sister of Yama, welcomes her brother Yama. This is another belief. It is also believed that after having vanquished Ravana in the battle in Lanka, Rama arrived in his Pushpaka Vimana to Ayodhya on that particular day. It's a belief again. Well, if all this is a belief, then there is another beautiful ritual, tradition that is associated with this set of days of Deepavali. It's Lakshmi Puja across the country. Why? In Kama Sutra of Vatsyayana, which is dated between the 3rd century BCE and 2nd century AD, it is said that it was called Yaksharatri because of the Yakshas the head is Kubera, and Kubera is said to be worshipping the one who grants him Aishwaryam, who's Mahalakshmi. So it is also a day where Lakshmi Puja is celebrated across the country. So it is said that Lakshmi visits everybody's home. Now may come a counter question, doesn't she visit the other days? No, she visits. Of course, I remember my parents, I remember my mother, my father, everybody, but then why is there a Mother's Day and Father's Day? Do we ask the question only on Mother's Day, do you remember your mother? We don't ask such questions, right? So here Lakshmi visits our houses and that day is commemorated as a special day for Lakshmi Puja. Well, this is on one side. I would just like to quickly say a few references. The 7th century work called Nagananda by the famous King Harsha mentions of this festival celebrated then. It was called Deepa Pratipadotsava. Pratipadam, there were lamps lit. Deepa Pratipadotsava. In the 9th century is Rajashekhara's Kavya Mimamsa, which mentions of this festival, Deepa Malika. And then we have some of the foreign dignitaries who visited our ancient India mention of it. We have Al-Biruni, the very famous Persian traveler and scholar who visited the Indian subcontinent in the 10th and the 11th century, mention of this festival where lamps were lit. We have the Venetian merchant Niccolo di Canti, who speaks about the same festival in his records in the 15th century CE. Same is the case with a Portuguese person called Domingos Pes in the 16th century, who makes a mention of this festival being celebrated across the country, the Indian subcontinent, called Deepavali. Then we have a copper plate inscription of Krishna III, a Rashtrakuta king who belonged to the 10th century, who made grants for this festival. Similarly, we have an inscription in Sanskritam mixed Kannada in Dharwad region of Karnataka of the 12th century, which makes a mention of this festival. There is a 13th century inscription in Ranganatha temple by mentioning of the grants given by a king called Ravivarman Sangamadhira, about for this festival. So we have foreign accounts, we have inscriptions in our country, we have Puranic references, and of course it's a practice. So while sweets are made and clothes are bought and people are so happy, uh, comes it's a trivia. People ask if bursting crackers is an integral part to this festival. Of course, a festival has to come with a lot of entertainment, right? It's just not about how much knowledge we garner or we gain from our scriptures. It's also about how beautifully we can bring the society together. So it was treated that crackers and fireworks is one interesting part to this festival, while some opine that it is causing pollution. I am no judge to say this is right or that is right. Whatever seems right to an individual, in whichever way he feels his action is going to help the society, that person can perform. But one thing can be very sure: Deepavali is a festival that is celebrated across communities in Sanatana Dharma, and we have multiple references to this. By the grace of Sri Mahalakshmi, by the grace of Sita and Ram, by the grace of Rukmini Satyabhama Sameta Sri Lord Krishna, by the grace of Goddess Durga, I'm sure that Lakshmi Puja combined with Govardhana Annakutotsavam plus Naraka Chaturdashi plus Ganga Snana Mahatmyam plus Rama's return to Ayodhya after vanquishing Ravana, Durga's successful mission upon winning Mahishasura, the grace of all this will surely come on us, will bring us more light, will take us from darkness to light, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya. Wishing you all a very, very happy Deepavali. Namaskar.